All right, tomorrow we open the book of Revelation. We're going to finish Daniel today, but let's continue on in Matthew. How's everybody doing? Big Friday. But John forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and comest thou to me? Jesus answering and said unto him, Suffer it to be so, excuse me, now, for thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. Because you see, Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but we just got through going over how because of Herod, he had to come up by way of Egypt to hide from the persecution or the killing of all the babies. And then he had to come through Nazareth in Galilee. And that was not Jewish bloodline territory. So he had to become like a proselyte Jew and to be baptized. And it was just part of those Jewish rituals. So I've heard it described the way I just did previous, but getting baptized, it was just like Jesus was honoring John the Baptist, making the way for him. John the Baptist, I mean, making the way for Jesus, and then Jesus sort of honoring him back. And then he suffered him. Because this whole to fulfill all righteousness, it's not about being baptized with water to be saved, like some people might try to steer you. I knew somebody that was in a certain religion where it was like you've got to eat bread and you've got to be baptized. And it wasn't the pagan Roman religion. It was just one of these fake Protestant religions. If it's a man-made religion, basically, if it's in a building and it has some sort of name, it's going to teach fakery. Anyway, and Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened up unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. So Jesus is like fulfilling all of the law. He's going through these rituals and so on and so forth. That's really the best way I can explain it. Then was Jesus led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And the tempter came to him and said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made to bread. Jesus answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. And the devil taketh him into a holy city, and setteth him on the pinnacle of the temple. And he saith unto him, Thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands shall bear up thee, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. So we'll get to the rest of that temptation tomorrow. And we close out Daniel. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things should be finished. That's 3.5 days. That's how long the Great Tribulation lasts, in my opinion. Because people don't know what the Great Tribulation is and how supernatural the earth will be at the abomination of desolation and moving forward after that. That's just another story for another day, I guess. If you got any questions about it, feel free to ask. And I heard, and then I'll address it in the next video, because I do get notifications of your comments when I click on my channel to get it set up. Right here, there's a bell, and it'll give me notifications if anybody has a question. So, and then I'll address it. Be glad to. And I heard, but I understood not. By the way, the 3.5 days, that's straight out of Revelation 11, because that's the church. There's 5 comparisons in Revelation 11:2. I'm not dogmatic about it, but that the 2 witnesses are the church, because there's 5 comparisons. It's just absolutely my best guess, because they're both represented by candlesticks, the 2 witnesses and the church in the book of Revelation. They're both represented by olive trees. They both are caught up to Jesus in the clouds. They're both persecuted by the Antichrist, and everything ends with an earthquake concerning them. So Revelation 11 and the 2 witnesses match 11 other in Revelation 11, 5 other points that the church, that also takes place to the church. And why 2? Because we are all kings and priests. That is said at the beginning of Revelation. So, and it says 3.5 days. We know that the time of the Antichrist is supposed to be 3.5 years. And yet, Jesus said he had to cut those days short, didn't he? So you got to throw all that out, don't you? And I heard, but I understood not, that all these things should be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then I said, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white. That's the trying that we talked about in yesterday's study. I told you we'd get to today. It says made white and tried. So it is through the process of the fiery trials that your robes are made white. Acts 14:22 says, we all through much tribulation enter the kingdom. Well, the great tribulation is to cleanse the entire lost church, which is spread out today. 99.99999% of the church is lost today. And they're spread out over every world religion you can imagine, over all the corners of the earth. It's not what people think when we say the church. They think about some building that's around the corner that claims Jesus. As Jesus said, they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, didn't we go to church every Sunday and blah, blah, blah. What did Jesus say? I never knew you. Now, I paraphrased, but you get the idea. Many shall be purified and made white and tried. That's the sheep. But the wicked shall do wickedly. That's the goats. And none of the wicked shall understand, because there's no free will. But the wise shall understand, because the Holy Spirit has baptized them. Hello. Everybody there? How's the volume doing on this? I didn't check the settings. See there? Turn it up. Blessed is he that waiteth. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. To what? Well, being that, in my opinion, the Great Tribulation itself lasts 3.5 days, that this is about God's wrath and all the different trumpet and bowl judgments and the things that are taking place. And from the time of the daily sacrifice shall the sacrifice be taken. From the time to what? You know what I mean? It's we can certainly go to it in the New Living and just see if, of course, this is a much more corrupted text, but sometimes they actually help because you get a little more clarity. So it's verse 11. And from the time the daily sacrifice is stopped and the sacrilegious object that causes desecration is set up to be worshipped, there will be 1,290 days. And blessed are those that wait and remain until the end of the 1,335 days. Remember how Jesus or God seals his on their foreheads in Revelation? In other words, great tribulation's over and God seals his, but they're still on the earth. So, and there's that whole, the trumpet and bowl judgment says God's cleansing the earth, but it's as if he never, it's as if there's always a human sheep on the earth. Like the earth is never without a sheep. And in my opinion, a called sheep walking on this earth. From the very beginning of Adam to the very end, when we get to Revelation, he says, behold, I make all things new. The old things are cast away. The old earth is cast away. All of that. There's no way to be dogmatic about what I'm telling you. This is my best interpretation of going through Revelation and Daniel over and over and over, along with the other end times passages like 2 Thessalonians 2 and Matthew 24, and of course, Revelation and Daniel and others. But obviously, if I end up being correct, then that's the Holy Spirit that gave it to me. It's not from, doesn't matter how much studying I've done. Anyway, as for you, go your way until the end. You will rest. In other words, he's going to die and go to sleep at some point before all this, before the end times, of course. And then at the end of days, you will rise again to receive the inheritance set aside for you. Oh, we're reading that out of the New Living. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 335, the 1,335 days. But go thy way until the end, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. Daniel's being told while he's alive that he's a sheep. That doesn't happen to us. The best we have is hope. We hope we're a sheep. That's what keeps us in that repentant state. So, but of course, Daniel was a very, Daniel's my favorite character in the Bible. Other than God and Jesus, of course. But human character. Daniel is my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. And it's not even close. Not even close. Anyway, We have wrapped up Daniel. I'm glad y'all are here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. We will start Revelation tomorrow, and there will be a new playlist. So this wraps up the playlist. I believe it's Daniel's 12th study. Instead of clicking videos on this channel, you would just click playlist. Got Matthew, 2nd Thessalonians, Lamps to the Slaughter, Zechariah 11:17, 1 Thessalonians, Christmas birthdays are pagan, no free will, John 3:16, Daniel 12 study, 47 videos. This will be 48. If I skipped one, never hesitate to let me know. I can always go back in and insert it. I need to do a quality control check and not be so lazy, huh? And click it and make sure it says Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right there, I'm missing a Monday. Oh, no. Oh, it's a lot of work to go in there and insert and find them, but we'll get it done. All right, love y'all.